There's a guy in my living room, and he keeps calling me babe. Okay, so this is really weird, and it's freaking me out, and I don't know what to do because nothing makes sense, and I'm so confused, and I feel like I must be going crazy. I'm posting this because I'm hoping someone here can help me because I literally don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay, so to start off, I live alone. At least I fucking thought I did anyway. I'm a single woman in her mid-20s, and I rent a small house in the countryside of southeastern Ontario. I'm basically in the middle of fucking nowhere. The next town is a 30-minute drive away, and my next-door neighbors are 2 to 3 kilometers down the road. Oh, and there's a lot of snow on the ground right now. This is relevant. I've only lived out here for a few months. I'm used to living in the city, but after an unexpected and expensive divorce left me scrambling for a place to live, it was hard to ignore the competitive rent prices the boonies have to offer. I could either have a teeny tiny studio apartment in the city, or have a cute little house with a garden all to myself in the countryside. I knew I would miss the convenience and the bustle of the city, but I love nature and I needed a change, so I figured I'd give country living a shot. I kinda wish I hadn't. If I'm completely honest, I've been pretty fucking lonely out here. I mostly work from home, and I'd usually rather just make a coffee here than drive for an hour to have one made for me, so I don't get much social interaction on a daily basis. I'm not a complete shut-in, don't get me wrong. I have friends and family, and I do see them regularly, but yeah, it's a lot more quiet out here than I'm used to. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, I can get to my main point here. The reason I'm writing this whole thing in the first place. Yesterday I woke up, got out of bed, went into the bathroom, and turned on the shower. As I was waiting for the water to heat up, I swear it takes longer to heat up than it takes me to actually shower, I heard the floors creaking in the hallway. But it's an old house, and it's winter, so I didn't think anything of it. Once the water was finally warm enough, I hopped in and went about my normal shower routine. As I was washing my hair, I thought I could hear dishes clanking together in the kitchen. But I told myself it was just the old pipes making noises and continued on showering. When I stepped out of the shower, though, towel wrapped around me, white noise from the water replaced with an empty silence, I couldn't make an excuse for the very distinctive sound of a spoon tapping on the side of a coffee cup, followed by someone taking an exaggerated sip. My heart stopped and I froze, standing there unable to decide what to do next. I couldn't move. Who was here? I wasn't expecting any visitors, and I definitely haven't given anyone a spare key. I thought for a moment that maybe if I just stayed quiet, whoever was there would think no one was home, take what they wanted, and leave. Then I had to stupidly remind myself that I had just been making lots of noise by showering. They already knew I was here. I listened. Silence. I grabbed my bathrobe, slipped it on, and very slowly and quietly moved closer to the door. I put my ear up against it and listened intently for anything happening on the other side. I heard that same empty silence. It was almost deafening. I started to think that maybe I had just imagined everything. I slowly and quietly opened the door and slipped out into the hallway. I made my way down the hall and into the kitchen, and was relieved to find it empty. I slowly and optimistically moved through the kitchen and into the living room, where my heart stopped again. There was a man on my couch, reading the newspaper. Who actually reads the paper these days? Sipping on coffee. "Morning, babe. There's fresh coffee on the counter," he said. I didn't know what to do. He didn't even look up at me. He just spoke so nonchalantly, his eyes never leaving the pages. I just stood there frozen. Once again, I blinked a few times, hoping he would disappear. He didn't. Instead, he looked up and smiled. "Everything okay, babe?" He set his coffee down and the paper and started to stand up. I ran into my bedroom and locked the door, because I didn't know what else to do, and I was scared. I paced for a few minutes before remembering I have a little Swiss Army knife in my bedside table. It wasn't much, but it was better than nothing. So I armed myself with that, took a deep breath, and went to inspect the house. It was empty. My house isn't big, but I really checked everywhere. He was gone. I didn't hear or see him leave, but he was definitely gone. What's weird, though, is that the door was still locked from the inside, and the snow around the house was completely untouched. There was not a single tire mark or footprint. Nowhere. I started to feel like I was going crazy. I told myself the whole thing had to have been a very vivid dream, because it just didn't make any sense, and I couldn't see any evidence to prove any of it actually happened. The lack of marks in the snow made it pretty clear that no one had come or gone anytime recently. But then, when I took a closer look, there was a fresh pot of coffee on the counter, a used mug in the sink, and a note scribbled on the newspaper that said, "Sorry, babe, had to run. See you later."